All right, if you did not put your phone away, now is the time. And tomorrow, we have a vocab quiz. So I thought I would start today by going over some of the vocab that might be more difficult to remember, because either you just learned it yesterday or you learned it way back at the beginning. Yeah? One of the categories, older vocab. Can you think of things from the beginning of our unit that might be harder to remember because it has been so long since we've talked about them? Yes, hypothesis. So ask yourself, do I remember what a hypothesis is? Yes. Baran? Mass and matter, yes. And if you look on your vocab list about mass, not only are you given the definition, the amount of matter in a substance, but you are also given the unit and you are given the measuring device. So if on this vocab list I have given the unit and the measuring device, then you are also responsible for knowing the unit and the measuring device. What are some other words that we might have trouble remembering that were way early on? Yes, Baran. Weight. What else have we got? Yes. Volume. What about just plain old, okay. Oh, we have matter. What's one sort of thing that is never matter, something that is non-matter? One category of non-matter. Starts with an E. Energy. Do you guys remember what energy is? Tell your partner if you can remember what energy is. Yes. The ability to do work. So in other words, the ability to get stuff moved, to get stuff made. For example, if you're a plant, inside your cells, you have this wonderful organelle that allows you to make sugar. Does anyone remember what that's called? Chloroplast. Yes. And what form of energy is doing the work of making the sugar? It's the light from the sun, okay? So that's the energy that's doing the work of making the sugar, okay? For weight, you should know the definition. You should know the unit. And you should know the measuring device. That's a spring scale. Yeah. All right, let's see. Are there any others from there? Oh, what are the 2 words you do not need to know that are on this list? Yes. Yeah, we do not need to know. Interpolate. We will get to that by Friday, but we won't get to it today. And extrapolate. Interpolate, extrapolate. You do not need to know those. Not for the quiz tomorrow. Now, we came across some new words. We came across at least a couple of new words in the last day. The newest vocab is sometimes also more difficult to remember because you haven't had a lot of experience with it. Can you think of anything you might have learned in last day's POGL? Yes, Liam. I called you Liam again. I'm going to do that for the rest of the frickin' year, aren't I? Oh no! Zach, sorry. Correlation. Yes. Best fit trend line. Yes. Scatterplot. Yes. High and low correlation. Yes. Sorry. Outlier. Yes. Bar graph. Now, some of you may not have gotten to the bar graph yet, so we're going to take a moment on that one, but I'm going to get to you guys first. Brian. Positive and negative correlation. Yes. Yes. Perfect and no correlation. Yes. Yes. Causation. Beautiful. Yes. Line of best fit. Or the best fit line. Yep. Those sound pretty good. Okay. I'm going to put a special note on the bar graph because the other ones we have learned like 2 or 3 days ago, and we've repeated them once or twice. But when were you introduced to the term bar graph? Yesterday, like literally yesterday. So if you happen to have been away yesterday, you won't have seen it at all, right? And if you did get introduced to it yesterday, you haven't had much time to review that. So let's take a moment and just talk about a bar graph so that everyone knows what's going on with that. If we draw our bar graph, what should it look like? Tell your partner, what should it look like? Yeah. Okay, what should it look like? What should I have on there? A bunch of bars. Shocking, it's a bar graph. Yes. Yeah, you're going to have bars where we have numeric values like quantities, like how many, is going to go on the y-axis. Yes? What sorts of things, so how many is going to go on the y-axis, what sorts of things are going to go on the x-axis? Have a chat about that. Yes. Yeah, so the x is going to be the independent, which is the case whether it's a bar graph or a scatter plot or whatever. The x is always the independent variable. Tell your partner another word for independent variable. Manipulated. Okay, specifically in a bar graph, what kinds of things go on the x-axis? What kinds of things? Yes. Non-numerical. Now, when we say non-numerical, I'm going to put like a little asterisk beside that because sometimes you will see numbers there, okay? On the x-axis, these things are going to be different groups. Or different categories. Do you guys remember what that little thing means? Do you remember what this little thing means? It means the same thing. So it means repeat the word different. Okay? Ditto. I like that. That was cute. It could also be different ranges of values. Okay, so different groups could be like, you know, maybe you have different flavors of jelly bean. Okay? You might have different political parties if someone was doing a poll for, you know, an election or something like that. Now, this is when it gets a little more complicated because normally we have non-numerical things on the x-axis when we're having a bar graph. However, what if I were to give you ages? 0 to 4, ages 5 to 8, ages 9 to 12. I still have numbers, yes? but I don't have like a specific number, okay? It is a range of numbers. So it's not a specific number, it is a group of values. So you could have a height range, you could have a foot size range. Yes? Things like that could be your ranges of values. And there you would still see numbers, but it wouldn't be like a specific number. So if you see groups, if you see categories, if you see ranges, that's going to tell you you want to use what kind of a graph? Bar graph. What's the other kind of graph that we mostly use? The scatter plot. And the scatter plot, you're going to have a single number and a single number for the X and the Y. Okay, so there won't be like a range of numbers. Okay, it'll be a number and a number. All right? Scatter plot. Another word that I thought might be challenging, especially if you are a person who does not choose to do homework all the time, since you've noticed I don't check it every day. It's something that you have only done on your own. You have only read about it. And in fact, you might not even know how to pronounce it yet because I don't think I put a pronunciation key in the reading, which I really should do. So see if you can tell your partner what I might be thinking about. It's something you've read about, but we've not talked about in class yet. That is our placebo, which does indeed look like placebo, but is not pronounced placebo. It is pronounced pla, C, and the accent's on the C, and then bo. Placebo. Okay? Tell your partner, what the heck is a placebo? Comfy? It's okay, you can sit like that, I don't mind. Anyone want to tell me what a placebo is? Yes? It is a fake medical treatment. It is a fake medical treatment that appears real. You should also know the term placebo effect. Tell your partner what the placebo effect is. Andre, where are you going? My grade 12s, they can just go to the bathroom anytime they want to. My grade 9s, because you guys are not yet fully grown yet, and some people might take advantage of it. Trust me, my grade 12s, they don't take advantage of the fact that I'll just let them go to the bathroom. Most of them still ask, would you like to go to the bathroom? Okay, you may go. Alrighty. So we have a fake medical treatment that appears real. What happens if someone experiences the placebo effect? Yes, Sophia. Yeah, so if you experience the placebo effect, what it means, and I think that I sometimes experience the placebo effect because I'm one of those people who takes like, supplements, right? I take this substance, it's a plant, it's called ashwagandha, and it's supposed to be a mood stabilizer. Yes? It's supposed to stabilize your mood. Thank you. Does it work? I kind of think it does, but do I know for sure that it's that and that it's not just that I think it's working, so it is working? Am I convinced enough? I feel like I am, and I don't want to know if it's a placebo effect because then it might stop working for me. So I'm happy just to keep taking it because it helps me like level out my moods, whether it's really working like by changing my brain chemistry some way, or whether it's just working by my brain saying, I think it's working, and therefore my brain changes its own chemistry. That's a placebo effect. Yes. There is also a nocebo effect. Sorry, please go ahead. Yeah, you can end up with like side effects from a placebo that are like, maybe you feel nausea, right? Maybe you feel faint. Maybe you get a rash. A rash seems like unlikely, but your mind has a lot of control over what goes on in your body. Yes? So this is the effect. Your mind thinks you're getting a treatment. So they've actually done like things where they have, you know, people sort of, envisioning their immune system going out and attacking like the invading cells or whatever, and that actually can help people. Okay, so your mind thinks you are getting a treatment, so you actually get somewhat better. We often use a placebo. Woo, that went crazy. We often use a placebo as a comparison group. What do we call a comparison group? A control group. So, for example, if you were a pharmaceutical company, okay, and we were testing a new migraine medication, okay, migraine headaches. I'm just going to put headache medication. You will have the experimental group. Are we doing pointillism? Do you guys know what pointillism is? It's art where you like shade things by okay. So we have an experimental group and they would receive, they get the actual medication being tested. We would also have a control group that gets a placebo that looks identical and tastes identical and whatever, and they would get the placebo, which is identical to the medication. And very often, they will also have a group, which is a second control group. Can you imagine what we do to the second control group? We control them. What do we do to our second control group? What do we give them? We give them nothing. Now, this is not a word that you are required to know this year because we don't have a lot of time to spend on it. But has anyone ever heard of a double-blind study? It's where both the person giving the medication and the person receiving the medication do not know what they are giving or getting. Yeah, they don't give subtle hints. They're not like sort of happier around the people who they know are actually getting treatment, right? Because they're like, oh, I get to give you something that's really working. Not that they're saying that, but they're like, oh, here's the medication. Hopefully you're going to get better soon. You know, like happy, happy. And then they're like, oh, here's the medication to the other people. Any sort of subtle hints could cause problems with the experiment. So double blind means that you don't get to know what you're taking, and the doctor doesn't get to know what they're taking. The only person who knows is like somewhere else, and they just give the two different medications different letters, and they send them off in a sealed envelope, and it eventually goes back to them, and yeah. Yes? You do not need to know double-blind study. Not need to know. It's just a very interesting sort of a thing, so I thought it was worth mentioning. Yes? 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 The two medications would be labeled something like A and B, and they would be sent like by mail or something from the company who's making the medication. And so the doctor would write down whether the person got medication A or medication B, but they don't know what it is. When they send the results back to the researchers, then the researchers can go, oh, medication A, which was the real medication. So it's like involves a third party. There has to be like a third party. But when they're giving it, you have to make the transfer like anonymous kind of thing. Okay, that was fun. When they're testing medications, they will almost always do a double blind study because it's the best. It's sort of the gold standard of studies. Yeah. Yeah. the oh, I guess because one of the things they want to do is they want to check in with people and get like information from them about what kind of side effects they're having. That would be another way to do it, would just be to send it through the mail and have them fill in a form, right? But often with anything where you're taking a medication, especially if it's something new, you would want to be checked on by the doctor just in case things start to not go so well, right? So I think that's probably why they have a doctor involved. Yeah. All right. So those are some words that might be important. Am I going to ask you to write definitions on this quiz? No. You're like, what? How can I do a vocabulary test without writing definitions? You might, yes. You're going to have to use the vocabulary in the problem. I will tell you for sure there's going to be something where it's like, I'll give you a bunch of statements, and you need to tell me whether they are observations or inferences. And if it's an observation, you're going to have to tell me whether it's qualitative or quantitative. That's a really easy example where I'm not having you define them, but you just need to know what they are. Okay? I might have things where you need to fill in the vocab word based on what you're told in the question. Okay, so there are some like fill in the blanks where you have to put the actual vocab word in based on, you know, what the sentence says. Okay? So yeah, that's it. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. Does anybody have any questions about any other vocab? I know some groups did not get a chance to finish the POGO last day. I would like to give you some time to do that. If you are finished, you can work on the homework. Okay? Is there anyone who did not get a vocab list? Oh, Sean. There you go. Would anyone like me to print them out a copy of today's notes? Would anyone like a copy of today's notes? Only one person wants me to print out a copy of today's notes. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to print them out for everybody because I believe all the people who are not listening also want them. Okay. I'll get you one. Where did it go? Here we are. Yes. Yeah, for sure.